Well, hi, my name is Andrew Nelson, and I'm glad that you're joining me today. Today we're starting a new series called Fight for Grace. It's based off my book, Fight for Grace. And what we're going to be doing is taking a look at the grace battle. Taking a look at this fight that is occurring all around us, all around in our churches. You know, maybe today you are a Christian and you've experienced this fight. Maybe you're not a Christian, and maybe one of the reasons you're not a Christian is because of this fight, because you've had enough of man-made religion and just want Jesus. Well, if that's the case, you've experienced this war over grace. If you are a Christian and you have been in church and you've walked away just burdened by all the stuff that you've got to do for God, or the stuff you feel like you've got to do for God, then you've experienced this fight for grace, and it's really all around us. And it really revolves around one simple question: is Jesus enough? Is Jesus enough for us? Now be careful how you answer that, because depending on how you answer that is going to show what side of the fight you're on. It's going to show whether you are helping or hindering the grace of God in the world. It's pretty heavy, isn't it? Is Jesus enough for you? Is he enough for your forgiveness? Is his work enough for your forgiveness? Or do you need to add to it? Do you need to doctor up his work with daily confession, with perfect behavior, with forgiving people that have wronged you, with reciting the Lord's Prayer, with doing baptism perfectly right, with taking the Lord's Supper the correct way, participating in sacraments? Is Jesus enough for your forgiveness? Is Jesus enough not only for your forgiveness, but for your life after salvation? What does your Christian walk look like? Is it a bunch of do's and don'ts? Is it a bunch of rules? Or is it a relationship with the living God in which Jesus Christ lives his life in and through you as you learn to rest in his grace? What does your Christian walk look like? If it's full of joy, if you're excited about it, chances are Jesus is enough for you. If it's burdensome, chances are you're not letting Jesus be enough for your Christian walk. You think salvation is free, but afterwards I got to get to work on this Christian thing. Well, that's not what God has in mind. Not only is Jesus enough for our forgiveness, he's enough for our life afterwards. Is he enough for you? Thirdly, is Jesus enough for your identity? You know, the world screams different identities at us. It says, you're not worthy unless you look a certain way. You're not really a girl unless you're thin and pretty. You're not really lovely unless you look a certain way, unless all your teeth are perfectly straightened. You know, you're not really a man unless you've got big bulging muscles, you know, and get in fights all the time. I don't know. You know, there's different lies out there. You're not really worth anything unless you've achieved something. Is Jesus enough for your identity? You know, when Christ died and rose again, one of the amazing positive consequences of the gospel was that we become children of God at salvation. When we believe in Christ, we become children of God, and that is our identity. What an identity that is. Instead of what culture says, that it's about how we look or how we act, what God says, it's about who you belong to. As Christians, we belong to God. He's our Father. He's our Abba, if you watched last week's video. And so, is Jesus enough for you? That question is what is at the heart of the fight for grace. And again, how you answer that question is going to depend what side you're on, whether you're hindering or helping the gospel of God. So for today, I just want to leave you with that. I want you to to ask yourself, is Jesus enough for me? Or do I feel like I have to add to his work? Am I resting in what he has accomplished, or am I adding to it? Is Jesus enough?